are. Welcome, everyone, to Growing in Uncertainty. My name is Tess Miller, and through my seminar and coaching business and therapeutic and sound business, Wings Unfolded, I help people identify and move past what's keeping them stuck in their lives. And as the person who literally wrote the book of Stuck, I am a self proclaimed expert on being stuck and also getting out of stuck. My intention with these videos, as always, is to share what I've learned and what I'm continuing to learn about being stuck. And in that way, we can grow in uncertainty together. So I have a guest joining me today. I'm so excited to introduce you to Shakonda George. She is the CEO and founder of Inner Journey Healings. She's an eclectic, ordained minister, herbalist, Reiki practitioner, empath, Yoni student, Hoodoo practitioner, and believer in the creator of all. So, welcome, Shakonda.
Thank you for having me.
So, as you know, I love talking to people about their stuck experiences in life. And so I'm wondering if you have a stuck experience of your own you'd like to share.
Life was a stuck experience for me. I pretty much until maybe 2015, I was total confusion. Still now a little bit, but not as bad. So, I mean, life in general. My path was just, I was on a different path before I got to my spiritual path. So, crossing over to that was scary. So, it's just, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are so many things, so many skills that you have built up. It's really, interesting to have that, all of those tools in your bag. I'm wondering what led you on your path to becoming an ordained minister, herbalist, Reiki practitioner, all of those things, all of the above.
So, I was born into the Christian church, Christian faith. So I was actually studying to be a minister there. I don't really want to get into all that, but it kind of went to just me going down some rabbit holes and things just popping up. So that is why I call myself an eclectic ordained minister, because I kind of pick, I just pick and choose and kind of put in what feels right to me. Um, Reiki, I've never heard of that, but I am a person who deals with depression and anxiety. So that was also a part of me being stuck. So I mean it just kind of went from there. Just going to each different thing, trying to figure out, just looking for help. So
Yeah. Yeah, in our prep for this show today, you mentioned something about getting lost on your way to getting unstuck because you were seeking help. And what would you have to say about getting lost in stuck?
well, there were so many healing modalities, and there were so many people saying, "Oh, have you tried this?" or "You should do that." And you would get to one and then jump to another. And not everything that works for everybody else was working for me. So that's how I kind of got into just so many things and just getting lost and just kind of feeling defeated
Hmm.
because things were working for other people and I could not figure out why they were not working for me, why I was still in this place of confusion and sadness and not being able to figure out how to where to begin, how to put the pieces of me back together. So trying to do what everybody else did, that confused me even more.
Right, that's understandable. If you're seeing everybody else get better and healing and they're saying, "Woohoo, look at me go." And you're like, why am I not getting there?" Yeah, What did you think in those moments when you weren't getting anywhere?
I thought I was broken. Like there was something wrong with me. Like I was never going to get fixed. And so that got to the point where I didn't want to be on this earth. I just was like, I don't belong here. Something just is not fitting with me. I don't connect with a lot of people like other people do. So it just got to the point where I didn't want to be here.
Right. Yeah, yeah. What kinds of feelings would come up for you in those moments?
Depression, anger, um, feeling like a failure, feeling like I'm not as smart as other people, just any negative feeling, emotion that you could think of, it was running through my head.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how long were you in that place?
So honestly, I've I've been in that place since I was a child, but when I became an adult on my spiritual path, it got worse then because I couldn't figure out, like I said, why is everybody else happy go lucky healing and I'm sitting here wanting to crawl in my bed and cry. So that was just there was just so many I yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if it had been happening that way since you were a child, what was at that point, what was your measuring stick for, oh, now I'm feeling better, if it had been going on that long?
Um geez, I don't know. I mean, now I can say that I do recognize the different emotions then than the ones I have now. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't know how I really don't know how to answer that one. Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah. How did you start to realize, like, I think anybody who's been stuck and in that place of like, oh my god, I think I'm broken, like, in order to take any kind of next step forward, people have to realize, like, maybe I'm not broken, maybe I'm just not doing the right things yet. What did it take for you to get to that point of, wait a minute, I'm not broken, I just haven't found it yet?
Honestly, it was first well, my children are always my inspiration. They always give me reasons to want to keep trying. So first and foremost, it was them. Secondly, my Reiki teacher, uh, Teresa, she is a shaman. And I remember going to her maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was in such a dark place. And I'm not a person that asks for help. I'll just sit by myself and deal with it. But this time I had to ask for help. And I went to her. And when I tell people this story, I tell it exactly like this. She pulled my soul out of the pits of hell. She did. It was like whoosh. So that was the beginning of just kind of the flow of healing coming. And then I had another healer. Her name is Kim, who gave me a ritual to go to the trees to heal. And I did that, and then a floodgate just opened up. And basically, just learning different things with what I practice, knowing that, yeah, I'm different. That's okay. I accept that. I'm good with that. Um, but there's nothing wrong with me. I just have to heal in my own way. I have to find my way of healing. So those people and those rituals and all the things that I'm learning now are helping me to heal my way. So
It sounds like you really had to get to a place of acceptance of who you are in order to really allow yourself to follow what you ultimately needed in your healing process.
yes, I had to not only accept but not hide. I've always had my spiritual gifts, but they were hidden. So I had to learn that my gifts are okay. Not everybody is going to accept them, but they're okay for me. And I'm not going to hide them anymore. So not hiding and not feeling like I'm not worthy or I'm not as good as anyone else. So that started changing with me as soon as I said, okay, what I do is okay for me. You don't have to like it, but this is what makes me happy. This is where I'm going to shine. So,
Right. Right. It's yeah, so for a while it seems like you were trying different healing modalities, watching people get better. So you're like, well, it must work because it's working for someone. But, all the while kind of averting your gaze from yourself. But once you started like embracing, no, 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 this is who I am, and who I am is okay, and I am worthy of healing. That's when that process could actually start happening.
yes. And it also I had to learn. People would keep saying, oh, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. And I'm sitting here like, what is the work? I didn't understand what that meant. I would be like, well, what does that mean? And they would be telling me things. I'd be like, I don't understand that. The work is in me. So I had to do a lot of inner work. And it was like, once I understood that, that was like, okay. So a lot of inner work, shadow work, dealing with emotions that pop up and not trying to hide them or ignore them. So that was a lot. That was a lot for me too. I was not used to having to sit in silence with my emotions. I never wanted to do that, but I had to do that. And that is when I was just like, oh, I'm finally feeling better. Finally. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
just
weird. It's weird how sitting with those painful emotions that we spend so much time avoiding all of a sudden, starts to help us feel better. It starts to lighten.
well, yeah. You think that while you're sitting there though, you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm not doing this. I don't want to do it. There is plenty of times where I would sit there and be like, I'm not doing this. I can't do this. It's driving me nuts. To one point where I just said, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna sit here. And I am a person who works with the ancestors. So they surrounded me so deep that it was easier for me to deal with those emotions. I felt them. I mean, there were situations where I was in a healing session and my grandmother came and she started rocking me. I mean, just stuff like that, where I just know that I'm not alone. I'm surrounded. I'm okay. I'm going to get through this because I have an army around me. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. So you mentioned earlier about shadow work. Um, could you, just in case there are people out there who are like, what's shadow work? So like Peter Pan and him trying to get his shadow?
So shadow work is still confusing to me. So I actually had to purchase a book to help me with shadow work because I never fully really understood it myself. I mean, they say it's dealing with the darkest parts of you that are hidden, and so that confused me too. And I'm like, okay, I can't do the confusion. So I had to get a book to actually help me with shadow work. So anybody dealing with the dark parts that they don't know about, I would suggest getting a prompt journal to understand more about what it is.
Oh, that's a good idea. So like a journal that kind of takes you through your shadows and leads you through that process.
Yeah, it asks you a question. You have to answer that question. So pretty much that every day you'll answer a question.
Oh, that
And that
sounds
was
amazing.
yeah, that was the easiest part for me because when I'm confused, I tend to want to just stop. I don't want to do it because it makes me it gets me anxious and then I want to cry. So I'm like, okay, so yeah, get help with shadow work if you don't understand it.
Would you have like a prompt journal that you would recommend to people?
I think mine is called My Shadow Work. Let me just make sure.
Because I can share that in the comments below this event.
Let's see if I can find it. It's called Integrating My Shadow.
Okay. Is there an author?
Um, her name is not actually showing up on this book.
That's okay.
But
I'll
yeah,
I'm digging.
I got it off of Amazon, so and I
Okay.
don't yeah, her the name is not on the book right here.
Okay. That's fine.
Mhm.
That's fine. Awesome. I'll share that definitely. So, once you discovered the tools that you needed, what was the unfolding of that healing process then like for you?
It is ongoing still. It is some points I'm like on a really high and I'm happy, and then some points I just whoop, like oh, so it's a roller coaster, and I'm still trying to find all these pieces of me to put back into place. So it's not easy. It's gonna be, and I say healing for me is gonna be ongoing until I take my last breath. So every day is different. Every moment is either an up or down. It's yeah.
Now, when you say that you're, in the process of putting the different pieces of you back together again, how does that happen that we lose pieces of ourselves and then have to reintegrate them?
So I was told they're called soul pieces. They can happen with traumas or bouts of depression, just different things in life, and we lose little pieces of ourselves. So that's how it was explained to me. And so I'm trying to get those soul pieces to come back. I've had a lot of trauma um, from early childhood until adulthood. So past lives I've had trauma. So I'm trying to get all those pieces back. For me, it's more shamanic work. I'm not a shaman, so I do have to go to my teacher for that. But yeah,
What happens in shamanic work?
um, depends on what you're getting done. When I had soul pieces put back, I just laid down on the table and my teacher drummed and she went to. There are like worlds. I can't explain all of it because I don't really. I have never taken those classes, but they go and they retrieve the soul pieces that are lost. Um, and it's basically, I mean, that's basically it. They do most of the work. You just have to integrate afterwards. You have to integrate that piece back into you.
And what does that integration process look like?
For me, I had a child piece brought back. So for me, it was getting in touch with my inner child. So, I mean, coloring or just playing, doing things that that child would have done. So I had to do a lot of that.
Okay. Okay. That's beautiful. Did you know at some point that you had reintegrated that piece?
Yes, I knew when I was able to start having some fun. I was a very serious person. I mean, I smiled, I joked, but it wasn't like I normally just stayed in my house to myself. But when I started to have fun and want to go out, then I knew that that piece was back in place.
Wow. That must have been an amazing experience to
That was
realize.
awesome because when you're just in a house all the time, not wanting to be bothered, and then you're finally getting out and having fun. It feels that in itself is healing. So
Yeah.
that was a great time for me.
Yeah, watching yourself get unstuck.
Yes. That horrible feeling being stuck. And I'm still stuck in some areas. It's not perfect for me, but I'm working on it. And
Yeah.
I don't beat myself up when I don't um get the results that I'm looking for.
Yes. Yeah, that's half the battle, right? When we inadvertently set expectations for ourselves and then, immediately can't quite reach those expectations
Yes.
and fall back into our state of stuck.
And it happens frequently. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, I found my life and I get stuck a little bit. No, there are times where it's so bad where I just want to crawl in my bed and just stay there.
Right.
But I drag myself out and just keep remembering where I've come from.
Right. Well, and it sounds like you've really built up so many tools that
Yes.
you can use.
Yes.
And
So go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just so a lot of it has probably already been there. It just didn't have a name for me. Now it has a name for me, but still a lot of it, it's hard. I'm free with it. I'm very open with it. But I know, like, when I tell people, okay, I am a hoodoo practitioner, they're like, whoa. But that is something that normally that a few years ago I wouldn't have told anybody. Like, no, not. But yeah, now I'm like, yeah, I'm a hoodoo practitioner. It's freeing to be able to say why I'm doing this, how I got there, and hoodoo is a part of my healing process. Reiki is a part of my healing process. These are all things that I can share. So
Yeah, and when you share it, when you say it with such like empowerment and authority. So, that is just so refreshing to see and hear. Would you feel comfortable talking to this platform about hoodoo?
um not too much. Not because I'm uncomfortable, but because I am what they call a baby hoodoo practitioner. So I
Okay.
haven't been in here for years,
Yeah.
but also I am still learning what parts to share, what parts not to share. So, and there's a lot of complication around who can actually practice. So I'm still trying to figure all that out.
Yeah.
But I mean, hoodoo, just short term, hoodoo came from, the Africans who were brought over as slaves. It was a way of them to survive. It was a way for them to continue practicing what they practice their spiritual practices in Africa, because here, they couldn't do that. They could get killed. So it was a necessity of survival, which is basically what it is now. My necessity of survival. So
Wow. And what led you to hoodoo?
I think I started off just doing research on African spirituality. And so I started learning that. And then it just kind of, there were different paths. And I was like, oh, but this one, I just kept going back to hoodoo. It just kept drawing me, drawing me. I was like, okay, well, let me hold on a minute. Let me see what this is over here. But it always brought me back to hoodoo. So at that point, I just said, okay, this is for me. I'm going to accept that. And if anything else is for me, it will come, but I'm just going to focus on this for now. So,
Yeah. Wow. So you were honoring that intuition within you that
yes,
kept drawing you back.
yes.
Yeah.
And that it when I study it, I am under a teacher, and I feel so happy and free, and I feel very empowered with it. So
Oh, that is so beautiful. So, what would you say to someone who is in the depths of stuck and they're spinning their wheels basically, trying to find the practices and the tools that will work for them, their own unique skill, practice, whatever.
Mhm.
How would you tell them to go about uncovering, what's going to work for them?
Well, first, I would say if you see something out there you want to try it. Try any healing modality that you want to. What feels right for you will eventually draw you into it. You have to find what works for you. Everybody's going to give you advice, but you have to go within yourself to figure out what works for you. You also have to do that inner work. That is the biggest thing. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But if you don't do that inner work, then as much outer work as you do, it's just not going to stick for you at all. So make sure that if you want to try multiple healing modalities, great, do it. It's okay. But ultimately go within yourself, do your own healing inside, and you will figure out what works for you.
That's so beautiful. Yay. Thank you so much for that. I just have one more silly question. What is one of your guilty pleasures?
So this may sound weird, but my guilty pleasure is sleep. Because when I would sleep before, I didn't really get lots of sleep. So I didn't really get lots of dreams. But now when I sleep, I dream, and I love that. So if I could sleep, I'll just sleep. That's my guilty pleasure. Just leave me alone. Don't wake me up. Let me sleep. I'm good. It's the dreams though. It's not anything else but the dreams.
Do you keep a dream journal?
I do.
Oh, that is
I
so
do.
fun.
I need to remember everyone who has come to me in my dreams, and yeah.
Oh, that is so great.
So I get really excited when when the ancestors come in the dreams. So I wake up and I'm like, oh God, they came. So yeah, sleep.
Awesome. Well, how can people learn more about you, connect with you?
So I am on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok a little bit. It's at Inner Journey Healings. All of those are Inner Journey Healings. Also, I am on YouTube with my beautiful sister Claire at Reiki Partners in Crime. We are also on Facebook at Reiki Partners in Crime.
Awesome. Thank you. And I will try to put all that in the comments below as well. So hopefully this conversation really resonates with you. There are so many wonderful gems in here, especially if you are someone who is looking for a way out of stuck and you've tried a whole bunch of stuff and you don't know where to go. You should definitely reach out to Shakonda. Absolutely. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're so grateful for your presence whenever that happens. And please like or share these videos so that more people can find them. Just kind of massage those algorithms, if you will. And if you would like to rewatch any of these things, you can see my videos on YouTube under my name and then the playlist Growing in Uncertainty. And you can stay tuned to any of my updates on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, my website. I put all these videos on my website as well. And if there's something that you would like help with related to a life transition, feel free to send me a private message. I'd love to connect with you. And remember that it is okay to be stuck, but you don't have to stay there. Take care, everyone.